Hey guys, it's Jay,
Monica.
and we are here at our newest Health and Vitality Secrets for the Busy Professional. It's our first one of January in the year 2016. Thanks for watching this in the rewind, or if you are coming on live. We have a delay here, so I have no idea if there's anybody actually watching live.
On this rainy day, everybody's
It is
watching.
a miserable day here in Southern California. We are not used to this kind of weather. To my East Coast brethren, we are joining your club right now, man. It is crazy weather here. Like, people are like freaking out, driving all over the road.
Trash cans are being rushed down a river on the street.
There's like pooling water on the freeways and on the surface streets and the axillary roads. It's like insane. I mean, like, it really is honestly dangerous to drive around here in Southern California. And then, of course, people don't know how to drive here either. So, but anyway, we're going to have Dr. Osborne and also Jim Brown and Navy SEAL Ray Care join us in the next couple of minutes.
There's Jim Brown. Woo!
Hey guys.
Jim's all dressed up. I'm really concerned. What's up,
Happy
Jim?
New Year, Jim.
Happy New Year. I'm actually working.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what I figured. All good. All good. We just started literally like 30 seconds ago. So we're having like a winter storm watch, or not even a watch. It's a warning. Right there. There's like literally flash flooding going on out here right now. So it's crazy. So, you know, these people have no idea how to drive. You know how it is. You remember on the West Coast when there's any weather. You were in Flagstaff, so you saw all the crazy weather up there.
At least those people knew how to drive, though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, if I just told you what Monica and I just saw when we were just coming back from the gym, it's insane. But it's funny because, you know, the infrastructure, the freeway infrastructure around here cannot handle any kind of inclement weather. So as soon as we get a massive rain, it all pools, you know, and it's like, it's everywhere. It's on the freeways. It's on the, you know, on the little side streets and stuff like that. I mean, I literally, as I was coming here, our gym is less than a mile from our house. I went through a water pot, like literally a pooling puddle of water on a road that was, I'm not exaggerating, it was 2.5 feet deep. And, you know, your car goes. So anyway, so I know
So
Ray.
back to the program.
So Ray and Doc will be joining us here in a second. Obviously, it's 2016. We really want to focus this show on talking about SOAR. We've got a couple people watching right now, but I know there's a bunch of people going to be watching later. So there's a lot of people on the fence that may or may not be watching the show in the next couple of days. And so I really want to try to push people to come. You know, it's a little late in the game. I know it's from February 4th to February 6th. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, it's soarforever.com. We've been talking about it for over a year. So most everybody has a little bit of familiarity with it. Monica will be there lecturing. Jim will be there lecturing. Of course, Ray and Dr. Osborne will be there lecturing. And then we'll also be working with people. There's Ray. What's up, Ray?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Ray Care.
So I'm just telling everybody right now, Jim's on too. We just started like 2.5 minutes ago, but I'm just telling everybody a little bit about SOAR.
Yep.
But you know, the reality is that for people that are still on the fence, this is an investment in your health. You know, what's more important than your health? You know, it's like Monica always says, most people don't realize or even, you know, value their health until they don't have their health. So this is a serious preventative measure. This is way better than anything any doctor is going to give you, or any kind of, like, you know, advice about, you know, cutting your diet out, or, you know, doing a little bit of exercise. I mean, this is like hardcore. You know, come to SOAR and truly figure out how you can enhance and lengthen and extend your life.
Right. And also a strong mindset.
Yeah. So Dr. Osborne will be jumping on here in a second. You know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go down the line, guys. I'll start with myself. And we'll just we'll tell everybody a little bit about what our role is with SOAR and what we're going to be doing. And then, you know, when Dr. Osborne comes on, we can kind of discuss like the structure of the event and how it's going to work. So anyway, I'll just jump in real quick. So obviously most everybody that watches us now knows I wrote the book on TRT. You know, I'm going to be lecturing on, I think, Thursday night. Yeah, it's nice. Jim actually had my mentor, Jim Brown, actually had a lot to do with that book. So
that guy right there,
yeah.
The guy that's all dressed up.
He's not just some big 240-pound freeloader. He actually does contribute. But
Hey. 255. Come on.
But the reality is
man.
that along with Dr. Osborne, I'll be lecturing, I think, on Thursday night. Dr. Osborne is going to be doing a lecture, and I'll let him talk about what he's going to be doing on anti-aging, and then I'll be filling in the rears, so to speak, with to TRT. And then on Friday night, well, let me take a step back. On Thursday and Friday, during half of the day, half the patients being evaluated by Dr. Osborne will be working with him in the morning, and the other half will either be off, hanging out at the pool, chilling with us, or if they want some like one-on-one individual instruction, maybe some mobility or some weight training or strength training or stuff, they can possibly work with Jim or Ray or myself. But likely the way it'll be structured is that it'll be off. One group will have half the day off, and the other group will be being evaluated by Dr. Osborne, and then we'll all meet up together in the afternoon to do strength training and mobility work. And then that's going to happen and break out over the next couple of days. And then I'll let Ray talk about what happens on Saturday morning. But on Saturday morning, we actually have some Navy SEAL, some simulated, there's Dr. Osborne. We have some simulated Navy SEAL stuff on Saturday morning at the beach. And it's very, very, very intense, very awesome stuff. And Ray leads all that. So with that said, I'll just jump into to Ray real quick. So Ray, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you're doing?
What was it you said? Talk about Saturday? I couldn't hear you.
Just tell them about your role at SOAR. You can talk a little bit about what you're going to be talking about, and then of course you can talk about Saturday morning too.
Without giving it all away, give us a little tidbit.
Actually, what we're going to do is, without getting into Monica's role, I'm going to touch on part of mindset. I think she takes a different approach than me, but I think we both have very, very aggressive and award-winning techniques, if you will, of how to motivate, how to find,
don't do it like that, Daddy.
within you, or whatever it may pertain to.
It goes up in the sky. Do that.
Wait,
I'm
a little bit, Ray, because I can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Go ahead.
Okay. So after we get done with mindset, I know we're going to be going over proper lifting techniques, and we're going to be demonstrating, obviously, leading by example. Everybody on here is a subject matter expert, and everything they do, so I know I'll be helping with one of the movements and making sure that it's done right. Then what we do is we kind of switch over to my role, which will be leading the SEAL PT, and I want to make something very clear. I'm not here to, and we're not here to injure or hurt anyone. What I do is I take the mindset and combine it with team building exercises, and the results are amazing. And even in a short time, you will actually see a transformation in people. From there, we branch off and we kind of do our own things, and then we have what I like to call, we called it last year, I know it was a monster mash, where I put my evil thinking cap on and we just come up with some great workouts that are fundamentally safe and sound. And we were breaking things down into groups last year, and we literally just did an outstanding workout that took, I don't even know how long we timed it, but people were tired, people were sore, but at the end of it, it was completely rewarding, and everybody understood the concepts of teamwork, unity, and just having that inner drive to get the mission accomplished. So
the only thing I want to say is just to echo what you said. If somebody's watching this show and they're like a newbie and they're like intimidated, they're, oh my God, I am not a Navy SEAL, I can never do that. I want to make it I want to stress. I think Ray already did, but what Ray teaches on Saturday morning is not something that a newbie can't handle. Meaning anyone can handle, any age, man or woman.
I did it. If I can do it, I mean, it's very tempered. Ray will push the envelope, with the right individuals. But if we have people in there that are new to strength training and new to this kind of stuff, and believe me, you'll get through it. It'll just be something that you'll remember for the rest of your life. Right, absolutely. There's much more, and I think if anything too, it's a lot of people have a misconception as far as Navy SEALs training. No, think of it as pushing yourself and just open yourself up to the possibilities. It's awesome. I'm telling you. This is coming from a woman who's, I guess you could say, middle-aged.
Yeah, you are. You're 44. All right, Jim, you want to jump in there real quick?
Sure. So I'll be covering some mobility stuff. What I put together is some of the most common issues that I deal with, that I've dealt with personally, and most of the guys that I help train that are over 40. So I'll be focusing on shoulder positioning and how to correct that, what to look forward to. strengthening and some mobility stuff that you can do in the shoulder. And then same for calf, trying to bulletproof your Achilles and then going through the ankles. And then, of course, when we get time training in the gym, I'll help all the guys go through whatever help they need and be doing some mobility stuff and, identifying and going through any hot spots or issues that guys have.
Awesome. And gals too, because we definitely
of course,
right now.
yes.
Yeah. So right now we have 7 women that are committed to coming. So almost half.
Great.
I mean, actually almost half. And I'm sure we're gonna have some women. Brett, you can jump in. I don't know. I can't unmute him. Go ahead, Brett. There you go.
Jim, what's up, guys? I actually need you to work on my shoulder, which is somewhat
Done.
ailing. You fixed my leg the last time. That was great. It was it was about a 3-minute treatment, and then I've still been good since that one treatment, and it was bad for probably 3-4 months. It had been nagging me. So now my shoulder from the powerlifting is a little bit annoying to the point where I'm not going to be able to lift in next weekend's meet. So I definitely could use some of your help.
What happened, dude?
It's probably 95% of the way there, but it's for the past 4 months I haven't really been doing any heavy benching because it's just annoying.
What happened?
Nothing. Just from squatting, getting the bar really, really, really low down, on my scapula. I bothered it and I don't know what it is. I don't know if I dinged up my labrum or my biceps tendon, but I had a lot of anterior shoulder pain, and where I could, it was really bothering me benching, and that's sort of gone away to a great degree, and now now it's just really getting that bar back and low. Yes, I know. It's just a matter of getting that bar back and low. So what I've been doing is I've been squatting with one of those yoke safety bars, so I can keep my hands in front, which has been another issue because that's a whole different movement mechanistically speaking, because the bar is real anterior. Even if you push it back, I don't know how much experience you guys have with those bars, but they're not nice. And they load the spine a lot. Unlike really low bar squats when you can get that bar way back over the midfoot. These sort of sit right on top of your spine. It's almost like doing a front squat. So it's kinder on the shoulder, but it's not really kind on my spine. Even if I try to really keep my lordosis and like I normally squat. My chest is normally on my thighs by the bottom of that squat, but with this it's just you have to use your hands, so you're pushing your hands up, and by virtue of that you sort of break your position a little bit, and you end up doing what you should never do during a squat, which is stand upright, despite what people tell you. So from that standpoint, it's been a little bit challenging, and as I said before, I'm not going to be able to do this meet, which is coming up on the 16th.
Well, that's okay. At least we know you won't be injured for SOAR. How's that?
No, I won't be injured for SOAR, actually. So I was sort of thankful that I got injured, and I'm now recovering. So I have had ample time to recover completely, and I'll be ready to go. But there'll be no 500-pound squats at SOAR.
Yeah, no. So real quick, like everybody was just kind of talking about like what their responsibilities are, what they're going to be doing. So just give a quick high-level summary of like what you're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that I'm probably positioned well to give as best I can in a short amount of time an overview of age management. Age management principles and practice, and the genesis of aging, age-related disease, et cetera, and sort of, this year, unlike last year, while there will be some similarities in the lecture content, it's going to be a bit different because there are some new technologies that are coming down the pike, which you guys may or may not be familiar with. Some of those were showcased at the anti-aging meeting in December, and I'm going to definitely talk about some of those technologies which are soon to be incorporated into this new practice that we're going to be starting come around end of February, probably early March. So there are some very, very interesting things. We'll talk a little bit about genetic testing and not so much preventative medicine, but predictive medicine, which is really where things are moving.
Right.
So that and my role will obviously be to, in an efficient manner, get patients through the office, answer as many questions as possible. Those questions that are not addressed during our lectures collectively. So the lectures are great from a number of standpoints. We really touch upon a wide variety of very, very important topics, physical and mental issues. Physical and mental. In other words, it's a cumulative summary of sort of the main tenets of what it is to live a long and hopefully healthy life, not just long, but to have your health span. So both mental and physical aspects. And I think by virtue of that, not only will we cover a lot, but we will make office visitations more fruitful. Because I find myself in the office now. The first thing I usually do when I ask patients whether or not when they come to the office, I had 2 of them today, 2 new age management patients. I asked them whether or not they've read the book. And of course, I get sort of these looks like this, like like your dog looks at you when there's like a funny noise in the background, because they haven't done their requisite coursework, so to speak. Yeah. I think that the lectures do that. So it will help patients digest and really understand all of those books. It's not just my book. Jay's book, I think Chrysler's book is in the back there. I mean, these are all good books. Everybody should be, and there are plenty of them. Okay, and there are plenty of these books. But you should do.
I'll bring my book too.
I don't have my book yet. Do your requisite reading, and then you will be able to answer questions that I berate you with during the lectures. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
anyway,
but it's true. I mean, the reality is most of the people know this that are coming. Your nurses have done a great job pounding them and letting them know. But for the people that are on the fence, and that's what this show is really for. I mean, listen, if you're planning on coming to this, you've got to do your homework. I mean, the reality is that you should be conversant in a lot of these terms, a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, and you should have a general understanding. We're not asking you to have like a thorough resource understanding like one of us did who've written these books, but you should be able to like Dr. Osborne says is like do your homework, understand your coursework, and come there ready to work and not have all a bunch of first level questions.
It's to your advantage to do that, okay? So that you're not looking up at us when we're speaking, listening, saying we're thinking I don't know anything about this. Okay, that's a bad idea. And we're here to educate and we're here to teach and answer questions, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like going to a class completely unprepared. So my thought would be for anybody that's watching that's coming to SOAR, and I assume that there are people on, people should really try to do their homework because it's going to make things click better and faster. So it is important. It is important. It's not required, okay? You're not going to be, completely left in the dark. Okay, we'll do our best to explain things, field questions, et cetera, et cetera. But the discussion, I can tell you, and it's going to be time better spent. The discussion will move on a more efficient, more higher level if you come having done some of your requisite reading. And it can be any source. It doesn't have to be our books. Okay? But be familiar, okay, with some of the basic tenets of aging and age management, so you are not lost. Like as an example, if you don't know what insulin does, the hormone insulin does, you're not in trouble. Okay, you have a month to learn it, but you should have some very, very, at least some vague familiarity what the hormone does, et cetera, et cetera. And there are a lot of, there are 50 topics that you can go through and name that are going to be touched upon.
I think too, Dr. O, a good thing to point out as well is the seminar is not about having people be as up to date or as knowledgeable as either, like, let's say you or Jay. It's more or less for them to be able to understand their own body and how things work for themselves so that they can age in the most, optimal way.
Yeah, and that's correct. It's all about the individual. It's not about us. We're there to educate. It's just the discussions will be at a higher level if more and more people come educated. So I usually tell patients, I did this twice in my office today during my hour-long diatribe, which is somewhat repetitive from patient to patient, but it's fine. The key foundational level of knowledge. In other words, you're not going to show up to Extreme SEAL, as an example, or one of these courses, that Ray has been, faculty at, and you're not going to show up, although some people do, slovenly, okay, and not being able to run a mile. Not a good situation, okay, and that's not going to go over well with Ray. So, it's fine to do that, okay, but it's just not the smartest thing to do. I can tell you. You want to take advantage of all of these, of this opportunity. Use it to your advantage. Use us to your advantage, and to be able to use us to the fullest. Challenge us with questions, et cetera, and keep the dialogue very, very stimulated. But yeah, it's about you. It's not about us. We're trying to deliver the best possible product and make you, the individuals, the students, the enrollees, the best people that they can possibly be. So that's really what it's about.
So real quick, I'm just gonna, and I know that we're just kind of doing an estimate right now, but like, are we thinking 3 o'clock is when you cut off the patients, and then we're in the gym, and then working dinner from 7 to 8?
Okay, so in that regard, some of the details that have been worked out. So Wednesday night is sort of just going to be we're probably going to meet everybody in the lobby of the Wyndham there, and sort of as a welcome committee. Myself, my staff, you guys will do that. Where it goes from there on that evening is sort of left open. There's not going to be anything formal that evening. On Thursday and Friday. And again, this is something that don't hold me to these times. But what's going to happen is that we have a facility at our disposal from 11 in the morning until 4 o'clock or thereabouts into the afternoon. So that's a 5-hour window.
Perfect.
Okay, both days. Okay, so Thursday and Friday. Half of the patients that are supposed to be routed through my office to come for the office visit, the evaluation, et cetera, the follow-up, are going to be seen on Thursday. The other half on Thursday, okay, and we will divide everybody up, okay, based upon if they're friends with somebody, et cetera, they came with somebody, et cetera, or groups that however it is that people are most comfortable, so to speak. It doesn't really matter to me. But anyway, and it doesn't have to be a certain ratio of males, females, et cetera. The body works in a way where it's male or females. There's no gender-specific exercise. So. We'll see half the patients in the morning there or throughout that day, okay, and then the other half will be at the gym, okay, people who are going to be staffing the gym, okay, and then the following day we're going to swap it. On the evenings, okay, of Thursday and Friday, we'll split the lectures, okay, so a couple of us are going to lecture on Thursday, a couple of us are going to lecture on Friday evening. Saturday morning it's going to be Ray's deal on the beach. The hotel is about a third of a mile to the beach, so I suspect that we'll probably run over there or do what we got to do in the darkness. And sorry, guys.
No, it's okay.
Hopefully, everybody will have 4 limbs when Ray's done. No, I'm kidding. When Ray's done with them, it's a little cool down here right now.
Are you going to bring logs out? Are you going to get?
Sorry?
Are you going to get logs?
Yeah, logs. Yeah. So the logs will be there again. They will be showcased. And Ray will lift one by himself and run 100 meters with it as usual. But anyway, to just show that everybody that it can be done, like he did last year. We have that on video. Yep. And then probably what we'll do is we'll break for like a brunch, and then we have the gym again, okay, on Saturday, midday, around 1 o'clock, for those interested in doing some sort of strength endurance type of workout, like we did last year at the WAD Farm. This is not the WAD Farm. This is a closed, I hate to use the word CrossFit gym that we're sort of renting out. Anyway, so that's the schedule. It's going to be, pretty chock full of activities, et cetera, et cetera. The lectures, by the way, are catered lectures. Okay, so there's going to be food there. You don't have to worry about, oh, it's 10 o'clock at night. What am I going to eat?
Are we going to have is Josh's company going to do it?
I'm sorry?
Josh's company going to be catering?
Is whose company?
Josh Benoit, the guy.
No. We're actually going to do it. That's a good question. We're actually going to do it with just through the hotel. I think it's easier logistically. We were thinking about doing stuff like that. We said no, because you know what happens. It's like a corking fee if you go to a hotel. I mean, go to a restaurant. You bring your wine. They're going to charge you $300 to you know the deal. So anyway, so that's the layout, and I think that's a pretty decent recap of what the agenda is going to look like. I don't really think that there's going to be too much variation. The times may vary a little bit, but for the most part, that's what we're dealing with here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the only other thing I would say is because I want to jump into some of the topics that we're going to talk about today. The whole thing, as you said, Doc, is going to be videotaped. We're going to have photographers there. We're going to have some local, I'm sure, print media, some local media there that are going to cover this. We know that Ironman Magazine is doing a feature story on it. So there's going to be a lot of great stuff that's going to come from this. I think one of the things that we really want to do afterwards, that obviously you and I have talked about, is we will do a synopsis, like an edited, highly edited video of all the course lectures, and we'll promote it from our websites. We'll probably sell it for a nominal fee or whatever, but just to get people with a better understanding that didn't attend the first time to understand what they would, what they would actually get from physically attending at a future date. So it's just anybody who's coming to this right now, it's going to be amazing. There's going to be tons of information. It's going to be hands-on. Ray and Jim are amazing teachers. And Monica's going to be talking about mindset and stuff like that too, and she's very, very accomplished and stuff. And then of course Brett and I will be giving our own lectures about a lot of important topics. So I think we can move on. Is there anything, Jim or Ray, is there anything you guys want to add real quick before I switch topics?
I think you covered it.
Yeah, no sir. I think we're set.
Any training issue, diet, nutrition, training, any of that stuff, mobility, I think between all of us, all the participants will have more answers than they probably want. But
yeah, and I actually, we'll talk after the show, guys, but I actually have a document that I created right now that has like kind of training levels of every person and, a little bit of information about the different people right now. So we're essentially 3 people away from having a full turnout, but obviously we can keep pushing and get more local people. And that doesn't count the people that are going to be attending that are friends and patients and VIPs and all that stuff. So anyway, that's good. So I think we did a good job of really breaking down SOAR. There's two more topics to talk about today. One of them is kind of trends in 2016, and I think Doc, you can talk a lot about the anti-aging stuff that you just were exposed to. I have a couple things I want to talk about. And then, of course, Ray and Jim. And then the last topic is, which we'll get to at the end, is like training for fat loss. It's early, it's January, all the resolution people are out, getting tons of questions about that kind of stuff. I mean, I know it's not very different, but I just want to address it and be very specific about it. So I'll let you start, Brett. And then, Jim, you go after Brett. But let's just talk about trends in 2016. Actually, I'll start. I'll just give you guys one thing. I just wrote a blog about 10 things to do in 2016 to really get your 2016 from a health and fitness standpoint off and running. I think that everybody should have one of these devices. Now, I'm not saying this exact device, but this Fitbit Surge watch that I have is amazing, right? Like, I literally can go to sleep. I can track my sleep patterns now. I can find out when I get into REM sleep, how many hours a night I'm sleeping. It updates on my iPhone. It does everything by itself. I do find that it doesn't track heart rate accurately. I mean, I feel like sometimes it's great, and then other times I got to kind of touch it and say, hey, what the hell is going on here? But then it does a pretty good job of that. But I bring this up because there's no excuse for anybody today with how cost efficient these things are to not really have a better understanding of your heart rate, your calories burned. And I think for just the hardcore people like ourselves, I think just like going into a gym and seeing where you're getting your heart rate up to when you're training with just weights is awesome. I mean, we didn't have access to this kind of stuff, just 4 or 5 years ago. So, if, they call it wearable fitness or whatever, look around and that one, actually a new one just came out yesterday from the same company, from Fitbit. And it's actually better and more advanced than this. Monica got this for me for Christmas, but they're awesome. So anyway, with that, Doc, talk about trends.
Yeah. So, I don't want to ruin the surprise, the SOAR story, but what we are seeing coming down the pike are some interesting technologies along the lines of what you said, Jay. There are some very, very sort of high-tech gadgets coming, namely, real-time glucose monitors. Okay, which is extremely, extremely important, particularly for those individuals that are trying to lose weight. As we all know, Google is coming out with their contact lens in the next couple of years, if not sooner, which is a real-time glucose monitor. There are some other ones that are actually available right now, which are sort of telemetrically tied or Bluetooth tied to your phone. as I assume the contact lens will, which gives you a minute-to-minute readout of your serum glucose. And for those individuals who are trying to lose weight, I think that this is critical, because we know, again, and I've said this 1,000 times, that one of the underpinnings of age-related disease in the aging process itself is basically poor glucose control or insulin resistance, which is the byproduct of that. So that's something, and it's a very, very aggressive thing to even suggest to individuals who are trying to get a handle on this. But I will tell you that soon enough, we'll all be able to, maybe even via a watch technology, we'll be able to, and that was really what I understand was sort of the premise behind what's going on with the undersurface of the Apple Watch, which is something that sort of remained unsaid. But ultimately, probably just through an Apple Watch, not even through a contact lens, would be able to do that. The problem is that non-invasive monitoring of serum glucose at this point is quite difficult for a lot of reasons. You're not just measuring fluctuations in light intensity as you are when you're checking, when you're assessing a heart rate. Now you're actually talking about measuring not something that's really non-pulsatile and very, very digital. Now you're talking about something measuring something that's very, very analog. And there are all sorts of problems associated with that, including things like skin and soft tissue thickness, et cetera, et cetera. Skin color, probably. There are probably 9 million different things that I don't have any intimate awareness of or knowledge of that sort of complicate this problem. Otherwise, we already would have had it. And once we have things like that, then we have data upon which to act. And what's going to end up happening, at least in my mind, is that this technology is going to afford us the opportunity to, and I'm a big believer in this, be able to, in real time, reduce risk factors for age-related disease. Because let's face it, we go to the doctor and we may see our physician once every 6 months, once every or annually, and this is the problem. The problem is that in that period of time, a lot of bad things can be going on. You can have blood pressure that's running rampant. You can have blood pressure that's 200 over 110. A lot of people do, and they're not monitoring by virtue of the fact that they're not monitoring, their parameters real time, their biometric real time. And sugar is just another one of these things. They're not taking the antihypertensives that they should be taking. How do you know that you don't need double the dose of antihypertensive on the day where you have a big job interview? Well, you probably do. And these are the things that ultimately will be at our fingertips, these technologies. And what about things like Theranos? Okay, you guys know what Theranos is?
Yeah, Theranos.
Theranos is the so Theranos is a multi-billion-dollar company that was started by a Stanford graduate. That allows you to have testing done, and I'm talking about says as an example, free testosterone, total testosterone, thyroid panel, et cetera, et cetera. She's got about 100 tests, that are available, all from a single drop of blood. Right. So you know where that's going. That's going to be in your house one day. I can assure you it's going to be in your house one day. Theranos is being incorporated into some Walgreens, I believe in Arizona right now. But as time goes by, mark my words, the Theranos machine that actually is sitting in your home, will be there. And, then you'll be able to check on a daily or a weekly basis, what your numbers look like. Because, again, we are made up, and I tell my patients this, we're made up of, and this is twice today, we're made up of just zeros and ones, Yes, we're very analog people. Monica, don't shoot me, We're very analog people, but at base level, we're just a bunch of data, And, that data is, if you get that data right, that data is what, keeping that data right, so to speak, your biochemistry correct, even on a daily basis, is what is conducive to health and longevity.
Look at Monica's already pulling away right now.
I know, she's having a heart attack. I know. Sorry,
I'm like, what are you doing right now, dude?
Sorry. So anyway.
All right. So any other things
that just shoot Monica in the heart?
Yeah.
Shot her in the heart.
Any other?
Anyway, those are the technologies. I'm not going to tell you about some of the other things that we're going to be talking about there, but there are several of them. That's just one of them.
But anything that is like brand new that really nobody knows about that you'll be dropping in SOAR? You don't have to explain it, but anything like just.
I will be talking a little bit about, these are the things, and you may call them, whatever you want to call them. You can call them anti-aging. I'm not so sure that you would call them that. I would call them elements of predictive type of medicine. There is a very there's a burgeoning field that is getting exponentially larger. That's called proteomics. Okay, and proteomics is basically the assaying of various serum proteins, okay, which will allow us to be able to predict, okay, potentially an MI, okay, that's coming down, okay, a heart attack that you're gonna develop in 4 weeks, okay, or cancer that you're gonna develop in 5 years, okay, and this is something that it's already here, okay, it's already here. We'll talk a little bit about it, but I think that's the way things are going. I'll be talking a little bit about the TAME trial, okay, which is another big thing. People are coming to my office in the wake of that. In the wake of that sort of media frenzy. What'd you say?
Write me a script for metformin, Doc.
Yeah, basically that's what's happening. Actually, I have people coming to the office just for metformin. Okay, and I explained to him that's not really this is not really the way things are. That there are other issues that need to be addressed, because oftentimes these people that are coming to the office for metformin have heard that one of the side effects of metformin is weight loss, and here comes the next diet revolution. It's not about that, okay? Because they have 9 million other problems.
Ray's the only one who's in line with today's topic.
Ray, you're a real zombot.
So,
good work, Ray.
We all get an F, and Ray gets an A+.
Ray has a zombot. He's got his uniform on. He's rocking and rolling with his uniform.
Nice, Ray. Nice.
I don't just sport this on this.
Yeah, we know you wore it to the gym today. People walk up to you and are like, "SOAR, what the fuck is that?"
I did it, and it's a size small, so it looks good.
You have your booty shorts on too?
I don't have the shorts. No, I'm wearing my regular ones, but I wear these shirts, and so does Trish all the time, and we got people asking us all the time.
Re-advertising.
Jay, one of the other things that we had touched upon the last time, which is, I'm telling you, this is going to be something that's emerging, and my knowledge has evolved tremendously since our last SOAR a couple of weeks back, when we had sort of broached the topic of these oral ketones. Right. This is something that's going to, I'm telling you, be very, very big, very, very soon.
So what would you call it? Would you call it modified intermittent fasting? Just like
see what's happening is this. Because I've researched this, and we had these when we sort of delved into that sort of arena. Because what I've really found out about those is that, as we all know, I mean, in the absence of the carbohydrate depleted state that you need to be in order to generate those ketones and really turn yourself into sort of a fat burning machine. The thing about oral ketones is as follows. No, they don't put you into ketosis. It's a pseudoketosis. We know that. Okay, that's fine. And the reason why it's fine is because those individuals that are having issues, okay, with say, the arch nemesis of somebody trying to lose weight is what? It's nighttime eating. Right. Okay. In other words, they have to eat at night. Okay. They have carbohydrate cravings like crazy. Okay. What's happened is that if you use these oral ketones, and I've been fiddling around with them with myself, both from the standpoint of powdered products, okay, which were showcased at the Congress, and okay, which for those unaware, that is basically a derivative of coconut oil, which is metabolized by the liver into ketone bodies. Anyway, which the body loves, particularly the brain. What ends up happening is that these ketones, okay, whether or not you're generating them yourself or you're taking them orally, what ends up happening with these is that these act directly on the brain. Okay, there's a tremendous amount of permeability through the blood-brain barrier. Okay, when these ketones are in the bloodstream, and by virtue of that, they act on the satiety centers in the brain. Okay, and they literally, okay, will shut your eating off. You think metformin shuts your eating off? try taking a dose of MCT oil, okay, or the oral beta-hydroxybutyrate products. I'm speaking from experience.
So how are you doing? So explain that. So how are you using this? Like, give us like.
Right. So they don't induce ketosis. That's false advertising as far as I'm concerned. Because what happens is that the definition of ketosis, I'm assuming is you get a 4, okay, on the on the keto sticks, or a -4, whatever it is, I forget. So you're deep into ketosis, okay, an hour after. Well, that's not true. You're not deep into ketosis. You're just spilling ketones because you've eaten them, okay. So that's fine, okay. There are merits to that, okay, and benefits, because there's data, and I've done my research again on the fact that these are neuroprotective, so they to some degree protect the brain. The brain likes them, okay, it uses them as for fuel very, very readily. And by virtue of the fact that you are full, okay, after you are putting these things into your body, okay, particularly if you use it before a meal, you will eat less. So you're going to have less brain fog, et cetera, that you get from carbohydrates, okay, even in small amounts, okay. Now, that's all well and good. So that's a sort of, I'll call that the metformin-like effect. It sort of curbs your appetite. Okay, actually it does curb your appetite. The thing about them is that for dieters, for people that are wanting to lose weight, and particularly in this first quarter of the new year when everybody's crazy, okay, my recommendation would be to get yourself an oral ketone product, okay, whether it's powder or it's an MCT oil or it's a direct beta-hydroxybutyrate oil itself, okay, so a liquid, and use that, okay, so after you have your nighttime meal, so it's 7 o'clock at night, you're done, okay, by 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock you're starving because you're addicted to carbohydrates. We all do this, particularly in that induction phase where you're trying to get into ketosis or become more and more, say, keto adapted, okay, you're en route to being a keto adapted. Use these products, okay, get your metabolism accustomed to metabolizing these as fuel, okay, and also use them from the standpoint of inducing satiety, okay, and they do work. So as an adjunct to other types of fat loss maneuver, whatever you're doing, okay, my recommendation would be to make sure that you are using one of these oral ketone products just from the standpoint of inducing satiety, okay.
So give me a day. So
yeah. So, I mean, a day
hold on, let me give you one. You tell me how you do it. So somebody fasts until 1 o'clock.
Yep.
They train at 7, 6:30. They eat.
Hold on. So somebody fasts until 1 o'clock, okay? I would argue with you, okay, that part of getting through that fast, okay, which can be quite difficult for people,
right?
Okay, is take some MCT oil or beta-hydroxybutyrate product, liquid or powder, okay, and in the morning, okay, use that as a shake, okay? I've tried this shake product, which is excellent, okay? It does not taste bad at all. I know everybody's had their share of things that taste horrible, okay? But this actually, at least for the time being, doesn't taste horrible to me, okay? Anyway, use that product, okay? You may have a little bit of caffeine, okay? And again, I'm telling you how to curb your appetite and give you energy at the same time, so you're not like this at work.
So if this person wakes up at 6 a.m. hypothetically, what time are they taking the shake?
Yeah. What I would do is on my way to work. Okay. So say it's 7 o'clock. Okay. In some coffee or the shake or whatever it is. Okay. Some caffeine product is going to help curb the appetite. It's going to give you a little bit of mental sharpness. Right. So I would use that in the morning. Okay. And if you want to fast all the way, if you're whatever you want to call it, if you're an intermittently fasted guy and you want to eat at 5 o'clock at night, so you've done your fast for 18 hours. Right. Okay. Then what I would do is I would have my meal. Okay. After I've done my training, I would have my meal, okay, and then, so say as an example, at this point, it's now 6:30 at night, okay, you're done, you've had your big meal, and then by 9 o'clock, another shake, okay, and I guarantee you will not be hungry.
So
all day you will not be hungry.
So what is in the shake? So what is in the shake exactly?
Nothing. The powder, okay, and that's it. If you want to put some.
So literally a shake of water and MCT oil and caffeine.
Yeah. Okay. So the product that I'm talking about, and there are a zillion of these products that are out there. Okay, is made by a company that's called Kegenix. Okay. Kegenix, I believe. Okay. And they have an orange powdered shake. Okay, at this point, but they're going to have other ones.
Are they selling it retail, or are they only selling it to doctors like you?
No, they sell it retail. Okay. Shakes themselves, the packets of the shakes are about Okay, but there are other products. There are other oral beta hydroxybutyrate products. God
damn it, Jim! I told you a fucking year ago we should have made an intermittent fasting powder. I told you, dude. We're a year in front of the curve, bro.
So it's already on the market. It's called MCT oil.
No.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. So anyway, Jay. This is a simple thing. It will help. Okay, and everybody that's on this call here knows some of the other tweaks that we use.
Right.
Okay, to curb our appetites. Okay. Some of these pharmaceuticals that we're on for anti-aging purposes do have a side effect of appetite suppression. So from my standpoint, okay, this is a very, very easy way that you can, with health in mind, in a non-stimulant based manner, in a non-surgical manner, i.e. liposuction, lose weight. Okay, it's very simple. And I go through this constantly in my office with patients, where all I do is I don't even talk to them about intermittent fasting. Some people won't respond to that well because they'll be so miserable.
Right.
Even they're psychologally addicted.
They can't adapt. They can't take. They don't have the patience.
They're too carbohydrate addicted because it's as we all know, it's a drug. So what I do is I give them a very, very basic macronutrient diet, macronutrient based upon their BMR, my scale. It's really simple. Okay. Then what I do is I just like I talk about in the book, I give them a gram, per pound of protein per day.
Right.
I start them out at either 100 or 125 grams of carbohydrates, depending upon a couple of things: hemoglobin A1C, how fat they are, how addicted to carbohydrates they are, and these are answers that are that I get through basic questioning. Right. Okay, how much do you crave carbohydrates? A lot of these people are like, nah, I just make bad choices, but I'm not really craving of the carbohydrates. So I'll either go 100 or 125 grams of low glycemic index carbohydrates, and I make up the rest of the BMR in fat. Right. That's it. It's very simple.
But you also cut them off at 6, right? They're not allowed to have any carbs.
I cut them off at 7. I'm not actually offering this ketone product in my office yet. Okay, but that's the next thing. Of course, all these patients are because they're all insulin resistant. Okay, they're on metformin. A lot of them are on thyroid replacement. Okay, and all of these things are working in concert. And I'm actually thinking about tweaking this to even make it easier for somebody. With coaching and accountability and et cetera, et cetera. And I think that we're going to end up, the patients that come to the office, we're not selling them any food, we're not selling anything that they're going to be addicted to. We're teaching them, and I think that the success rate once we start really, really doing this is going to be very, very high.
Well, by the way, just so you know, and we can talk about this another time, but the stuff that you and I were like speculating on last year and getting a compounder to make, I have a compounder now that will do anything we want.
Yep. So, well, I'm going to tell you, Jay, that I think that this is very real, and the more we realize that ketones themselves.
Dude, I'm doing intermittent fasting every day. I mean, I literally started it a Saturday. I mean, I ate, as Jim knows and Ray knows, and I was on a seafood diet after I did that photo shoot, and I put on some serious storage areas, and in 11 days of doing intermittent fasting, it's gone. Literally gone, and I have not even cared of what I'm eating in my.
Right.
I mean, I don't even care. I mean, so metabolically, there is a massive advantage of doing this, but to preserve muscle as much as possible, and also to train with intensity, you definitely have to tweak it.
Sure, that's this is something that obviously is evolving, but I'm a believer in this stuff, and I think that. I'm fairly convinced, that these oral ketones, while they don't induce ketosis from the standpoint of you're metabolically producing ketones, because we all know that you're not. Right. I think if you are using these, to induce satiety, I think that they're going to work very, very well for you. Very well.
Jim, what are your thoughts on the whole? I know because Jim's been telling me the same thing for 2 years about the ketosis strips, that nobody's really in level of ketosis. But clearly having high glucogen, low insulin, you're definitely in a position where you're enhancing thermogenesis. You're definitely losing fat at a faster rate. Jim, what are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I think that's a product. I mean, once you're in a state of low glucose and you're not doing an exercise where you're either breaking down protein or your body's searching for glucose. Yeah, sounds like an excellent way to kind of curb your appetite and get through the fast. Maybe have some brain power and not be wiped out from your diet. But most of the people that I have worked with, over the years since the Atkins diet came out, almost nobody ever gets into ketosis. Everybody thinks that they are on a ketogenic diet, and there's a big misconception about it. But I don't know. It's an effective way to lose fat. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's no question. And Brett, going back to what you were saying, and Ray, you can jump in here in a second, but the truth is that people are carbohydrate addicted. Their insulin it's a yo-yo. Their insulin signaling is a yo-yo. It's flood withdrawal. Metformin curbs it a little bit. Obviously, lowering carbohydrates, increasing insulin sensitivity through exercise and weight training, and all the things that we talk about. Obviously, optimizing hormones, but it really does come down to willpower, as you said. These people have got to stick through to the point where they do adapt, because we all physiologically will adapt. Some it'll take longer than others, but it does become a willpower issue where you can let yourself get to a point where, as you said, 100 and 125 carbohydrate grams becomes 50, right? And on days you don't train, if you're trying to get to the best shape of your life, maybe it becomes 25 or 30. And as you know, it can even go lower. Yep. But it really is a willpower issue. And this is just my opinion, but I believe from an evolutionary biological standpoint, women struggle more than men. I don't know what it is. Men can go longer fasting. I don't know if it's because we're the hunter-gatherers. There's something going on biologically. I've seen some studies, I've seen some data that says that men can fast longer than women can for maternal, childbearing raises, nurturing, and all that stuff. But Monica struggles to do intermittent fasting. She really struggles. Like, she has to have carbohydrates at every 4 to 5 hours. And she's obviously super lean, so it's not like she's fat. But I see a lot of women that really struggle with doing intermittent fasting. They have to have shorter fast windows. But anyway, so Ray, anything you want to jump in? I want Ray to say
those products may. I would encourage you to try them, because they may.
No, I will. I'm going to do a blog on it. I'm glad you told me that.
They may help. The thing about it is that it's not so much that whether or not you're in ketosis. Okay, it's just whether or not you're existing in a low insulin state. So you're burning fat. And there is a difference between the two states, as Jim had alluded to. But I think that there is something to these oils. Not for ketosis induction, because we again know that doesn't do that.
I've been using MCT oil, Brett, for 15 years. And I
get that, and that's all, and that's great. And there's definitely something to these things. Along the lines of what Jim said, there was a gentleman, his name escapes me right now, who's doing work in South Africa. He's a big, low carb guy, who is doing work on powerlifters. Okay, so really, when you think about it, okay, Jim had said, well, about searching for glucose, et cetera, et cetera. I can tell you right now, we all know that powerlifting does not work with, has nothing to do with glucose levels. Okay, that's all phosphocreatine. Okay, so it's zero. Okay, so it will work for powerlifters. Okay, for sure. We're not talking about bodybuilding.
Right.
Okay, bodybuilding, we're all dependent upon glycolytic fibers, and the glycolytic fibers are what give us bulk. That's not for powerlifting. Okay, I will tell you that what this guy is ultimately going to turn out is that there are very, very few sports that are really, really reliant on glucose, in other words, as the predominant fuel system.
Right.
Okay. So, when you are sprinting, okay, for, 5 seconds, okay, full anaerobic sprint, okay, there's going to be these short bursts, okay, are going to be mediated by predominantly phosphocreatine, okay, and then the longer bursts, okay, so the endurance training, okay, is a perfect sport for people that are in ketosis, because you're burning fat.
Right. Exactly.
So it would be some sort of intermediary type of sport. Soccer is an endurance sport. Football is sort of a type 2 fiber sport. You're not running for 7 minutes, okay? It's a quick burst. Soccer, even things like lacrosse. Now you have lacrosse where you have a lot of endurance stuff going on and some short little bursts, okay? So it's really, really hard for me to say, okay, that this is not going to be the way things are borne out ultimately. In other words, we probably all should be on these diets. I think from an evolutionary standpoint, the insulin IGF-1 pathways were late. Okay, we've talked about this before. You know, when we were Australopithecus or Oreopithecus, okay, you know, for those that are, you know, of the evolutionary mindset, you know, from what do you call it, the Darwinism mindset, okay, those systems probably were not in place, okay, or were in place in a much less robust fashion,
right.
Okay, 50,000 years ago.
We didn't have agriculture.
Correct. Okay, we didn't have sugar. We didn't have garbage. Okay, so there was no reason, okay, to run around with high insulin levels. Okay, and therefore we probably didn't have those diseases. And that's what the science says. So this is a good way, okay, to fuel your brain and your organ systems that want to run on ketones.
Right.
Want to run. It's just that this hasn't really been pushed. Okay, well, but I can see it coming.
Dude, I've done it. First off, you know, I believe me, I'm a huge proponent of ketogenic diets. The only thing I will say, and again, I did this a long time ago. I mean, we're talking 15 years ago. I got to the lowest body fat I was ever at before I ever touched testosterone, before I was, you know, using anything but, you know, over-the-counter magazine bullshit. The reality of those diets, and I find that as long as you're not doing a lot of repetitive training, okay, whether you're using phosphocreatine stores, you're running on endurance fuels, you know, the non-aerobic glycolytic pathways, you still can get hurt. I don't know why it is, but you don't have fluid in like your knee capsules, into joint areas, you know, the synovial fluid, the joint capsule fluid, whatever that shit's called, I forget. But I just see people when they do too long without refueling muscle glycogen stores, you're going to get hurt.
Well, Jay, it's probably a fluid issue, because one of the issues with ketonic diets, okay, is the fact that when you don't make any insulin, okay, you do not retain glucose within the muscles, and you also don't retain sodium. So you really have electrolyte problems, okay, when you're on a ketonic diet, okay. So yes, you will run dry, okay, and you will get into trouble, and you will get constipated, okay, and people that are not familiar, okay, and they're not using these compensatory type of supplements, okay, in other words, electrolyte supplements, et cetera, some people use laxatives, you know, or stool softeners, I should say, you're going to get into trouble. So what you did notice was absolutely right. And it's not the fact that the ketones predispose you to injury. It's just the fact that probably there's probably less elasticity and pliability in some of those tissues that are normally very, very saturated with water, interstitial fluid, et cetera. So that's very, 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 very true. But again, that's not something that I think we should hold against the ketonic diet. I think what we should do is just make sure that people that are engaging in this sort of whatever you want to call it, these protocols, they have to be very, very well aware of these dangers.
Well, I'm very interested then in seeing his research when it comes out, because I really think it would be a revolutionary type landmark stuff where if he can prove that, like, look, you can absolutely, run on ketones and do, with the phosphocreatine pathway.
Hey, look at LeBron James.
Yeah.
He went to him 3 months. 3 months in South Africa. I forget his name. Okay, 3 months in South Africa, became completely keto adapted. He used to drink Gatorade on the sidelines.
Yep.
Take a look at what he drinks now.
Right. That's awesome. All right, Jim, you want to add? You want to just? I know we're at the end here. I want to give Jim and Ray a couple thoughts. Anything new trends that you're going to be incorporating with mobility?
No. I'm still working on getting a 200-pound steel core like Donnie Thompson uses. There's a machine shop out here that said they'd make it for us to do this body tempering.
Okay.
That's probably the newest thing that I've been working on to try to acquire.
What is that? I'm not familiar.
It's literally about an 8-inch by 4-foot steel cylinder, and there's a couple different weights, 120 up to 210 pounds, and you basically steamroll yourself with it.
Really?
It's incredible. Yeah, it works. That's all I can tell you.
So you bring that on the plane?
Say again?
Are you putting that on the plane? You bringing that with you?
It might carry on. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
We'll try to simulate. You can kind of get an effect out of it by using a barbell loaded up. but it's literally like getting an art massage for your whole body in about 5 minutes.
Wow.
And it feels incredible. Guys are in his gym doing that and then breaking PRs every day with it. So it's incredible stuff. I'll talk about all that. But that's the newest.
You got some pictures of that,
I'm
Jim?
trying. Yeah.
You got some pictures? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'll show it.
Yeah. Be interested.
All right,
Well,
Ray, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What'd you say, Brett?
I need him to work on my shoulder. Give me the 5-minute, gym fix.
Ray,
Yeah, I'll go through it.
Ray's just been sitting back there coughing, trying not to die. Dude, you got anything you want to add, man? I mean, I know you're a celebrity and everything on TV and everything, but did you want to add anything?
Yeah, talking about the meal plans, and I'm quoting someone in this. I fast between my meals. That's what I fast.
Well, honestly, tell everybody real quick, like, your daily diet. What's your daily diet looking like right now? I mean, obviously, we're all coming in trying to be very, very lean, ultra lean. We're going to be getting videotaped. They're going to be doing photography. Obviously, we want to look good to impress people. But what's your daily diet right now?
So, do you mean like my macros, my intake, or are you talking?
Just give me like how you eat. Like, break up. You're awake for what, 17 hours a day, 16 hours a day. Like, when do you eat?
Yeah. So I break it down. I just have my meal plan. I have it here. I have, I get up in the morning. I'm up 6:30 in the morning. Coffee right now switches from having fat-free creamer to going black. It's go time. I have my 7 hard-boiled eggs. One, I eat the whole entire egg. That's just something I do because of what I'm trying to do with my intake.
Right.
I go from there. I have that, and I have 2/3 cup of an oatmeal. Doing that, I'm actually right now still using some salt.
So what time do you eat then? So if you're waking up at 6:30, are you eating by 7 or are you eating at 8?
I'm eating at 6:35.
So you literally wake up and then you eat.
And I eat. It's
Okay.
just how I'm trained with
No,
work.
that's fine. And so then are you exercising after that meal, or are you doing like some sort of endurance training?
Well, see, I don't want to give too many of my secrets up because when I start, with
okay, man, we got to get people to come see this, so you can just tell us a little bit, give us a little tweak.
So my last month, I do cardio on an empty stomach.
Right.
So I'll go up. I may have, depending on how I feel, sometimes I need the black coffee to get me going, and then I just start my meals later. That's where I'm at right now. But generally, when me and Jim, we had this conversation before, maintaining, I have a set thing, but now that it's go time, I'm usually doing I'm doing 2-a-days. Doing
Right.
and it's high intensity, and I'll mix it up long, just like I do my plans, short, middle, and long term. I do short distance. I'm doing explosive. I'm doing medium, and then I'm doing distance. With that, my workouts, I start increasing my workouts. I don't spend as much time lifting. I'm doing more of the Tabata type workouts.
Right.
I like to get in and out, keep the blood pumping. Because obviously all 3 of us have, or 4 of us have different body builds. I'm the fat kid of the bunch. Just right now for the people to know, I've went from, because I don't mind telling my story. Because I got some talk from some of the guys that are on here. I got up to about 209 point change, and the guy that I'm talking about has the least bit of hair of all of us, and I'm down to 201 right now, and I have a target weight of under 195, and I'm just watching what I eat. I'm increasing the water, and
How many times a day would you say you're eating, like actual feedings? Are you eating 4, 5, 6 times? How many times are you actually eating?
Am I counting? If we're counting shake, I have
feeding every time you eat.
6 times a day.
Okay, cool.
6 meals.
And Jim, what are you doing right now? Like, how many meals a day are you eating right now, Jim?
Between 2,000 and 2,500 calories a day, depending on the day.
So 4 to 6 feedings? 4 to 6 feedings?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
And Brett, you're like what? Same thing? You're like 2,200, 2,500 calories?
Yeah, I would say that. As far as my meal timing and stuff, it varies. Just depends upon call, obviously.
Right.
Depends where I've been dragged to.
So Monica, you just jump in. We got to bounce here in a couple minutes. We got to go get the kids. But so just tell them about your diet right now, like exactly what your diet times.
He says I have a hard time with intermittent fasting, but after I do fasted cardio, I just have a shake, and then I don't eat until about 12:30.
Right.
And then we eat again at like 4:30ish or so.
Which depends on training.
Right, just training, and then after that we have dinner, and that's really about it.
Yeah, we're training in the afternoons now, Brett. We can't do mornings anymore. It just fucks up our day. But yeah, we're all about the same, guys. We got to bounce here. Again, We're going to be promoting the living hell out of SOAR. You know, it's soarforever.com. If you're contemplating it, you should not contemplate it anymore. For what we're giving, there's 3 different price points. If you want to become a patient of Dr. Osborne's, it's $24.97. If you want to come and bring a friend and you're already working with an anti-aging physician, it's $19.97, 2 people, so it's like $9.97 a person. And if you're already a patient of Doc's, it's $14.97. So again, we think the price is extremely fair. If anything, we're giving it away for what we're giving you guys back. Reach out to any one of us if you have questions. We'll be happy to answer them. If there's anything preventing you from pulling the trigger, again, just reach out and say hi, and that's it. Anybody else got anything else to say? You guys are good?
I think we're good, guys.
Awesome. Jim, thanks for coming up. Doc, thanks for coming up.
Show, guys.
Melissa.
Jim, say right?
I'll post this thing.
I said don't pass up this opportunity, guys.
Yep.
Take it from probably the most stubborn guy here. It's life-changing.
Definitely. Okay, guys, we'll talk soon, man. 2 weeks from now, and we'll be all. We're gonna have a meeting in the next couple days, so I'll be in touch.
All right, guys.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.